Hello everybody, this is Daryl Whitman with DestinationWVFTV. Thank you for watching. Me and my wife completed a 7-day cruise on the largest cruise ship in the world, Icon of the Seas, June 1st through June 8th of this year. In this video, we will chronicle our cruise from beginning to end. And let me say from the outset, this cruise was more about the ship than the destinations. Let's talk about it. Me and my wife have been looking forward to this cruise for some time. One, because we love Royal Caribbean. And second, because we wanted to experience what sailing on the largest cruise ship in the world was like. We got all we could handle and more. But first things first, day one. Our trip started in Dallas on May 31st, 2024. We flew from Dallas Love Field to Miami on Southwest Airlines. We always prefer getting into our port city the day before our cruise so we don't have any last-minute issues that might prevent us from making it to the ship on time. We chose Courtyard by Marriott in downtown Miami as our hotel of choice. This was primarily because of the awesome experience we enjoyed at the Courtyard by Marriott in Galveston, Texas. The experience at this Courtyard location wasn't quite as good as the location in Galveston, but for one night it served its purpose. For instance, there was no welcome bag for Marriott Bonvoy members, and there were no complimentary chocolate cookies for guests. I was so disappointed. Okay, not really, but I was kind of expecting the same amenities we had in Galveston. The on-site restaurant was good. It had a similar menu to Galveston, but was much bigger in size. The restaurant staff was great as well, and the food was very good. The room was clean and comfortable, and we enjoyed a good night's sleep. The location was great as far as the cruise was concerned, and the hotel had a shuttle to the port. The cost was only $10 per person. I signed us up. The hotel overall was good, except for those amenities I mentioned. If I was rating it on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd probably give it a 6 or 7, and I would recommend it. Day 2. Our check-in time for our cruise was between 12:30 and 1 o'clock. We got to the cruise terminal at about 11:30 or so. It didn't take us long to check in. I estimate it took about 45 minutes to complete check-in. Check-in was smooth and efficient. The lines moved well, and we didn't have any issues. There was no sitting around waiting to board the ship, no waiting to hear your group call. We headed up the gangway, and we were on the ship by about 12:15 or 12:30 or so. The first thing we did was go ahead and get our security briefing done. I advise you to get this done earlier rather than later. We don't want to be the ones responsible for the ship's departure being delayed. We then made our way up to the Lido deck to the Windjammer buffet for some lunch. After lunch, we hung out on the Lido deck until our rooms were ready. They had a Caribbean band playing one deck up, so we checked them out for a little bit. They were really good. Just from the small sample of what we'd seen so far, you could tell this ship was different. Very different. Certainly like no cruise ship we'd ever seen. Our rooms were ready around 1 o'clock. We headed down to deck 14 to our cabin. The surprise here was that when we got there, we only had one SeaPass card. Mine. They didn't include my wife's card. After a quick look at the cabin, we headed down to guest services to get hers. We made our way back to our cabin and were really pleased with it. Rather than listening to me describe it, here's a tour of our cabin. Hello everybody, this is Daryl Whitman with DestinationWVFTV. Thank you for watching. Me and my wife just completed a 7-day cruise on the largest cruise ship in the world, Royal Caribbean's Icon of the Seas. We booked an ocean view balcony cabin. This video will take you on a tour of our cabin. Let's get started. Our cabin number was 14304. We were on deck 14, cabin number 304. You can see from the panel that our cabin was located toward the rear of the ship. To enter the cabin, you simply tap your SeaPass card on the anchor symbol, and the green light will appear rather quickly, and I believe you also hear a little clicking sound. You can then just open the door and enter the cabin. Once you enter the cabin, immediately on the right, you'll see the thermostat and lighting controls. The thermostat is simple to use. just press the arrows either up or down to set your desired temperature. As for the lighting, the switch on the left is for lighting in the entire cabin, and the switch on the right is for the bathroom. The bathroom is located on your right as you enter the cabin. We found it to be sufficient to meet our needs as cruise ship bathrooms go. The shower was a good size. The water temperature was great, as was the water flow. The area around the sink was small, as is to be expected. There was shelving space next to the sink and on the opposite wall, and the door to the bathroom closed magnetically, which made it a little more quiet when closing. Continuing on through the cabin, there's a full-length mirror for styling and profiling before going out. That's me in my Pittsburgh Pirates jersey, repping my favorite player of all time, Roberto Clemente. By the way, the mirror has a hidden compartment behind it, and it includes the in-room safe as well as additional storage with shelves. We didn't discover it until a few days into the cruise. Pretty clever, I think. Just around the corner from the bathroom, on the right, are the closets. The first closet is the smaller of the two closets. Of course, that would be the side that I was given. Go figure. It is the longer of the two closets and was really sufficient for me. The second closet is the bigger closet and includes 4 compartments with baskets to hold any additional items you may want to store. The cabin also included a set of 3 hooks on the left side of the cabin for hanging additional items. There's a small table that we had our water sitting on, but it can be used as a tray table as well. The vanity was a good size. It had 5 drawers. At least 2 were pretty deep. They were also the soft close drawers. Located on the bottom right of the vanity was a cabinet that housed the in-room fridge. The fridge was small and couldn't hold more than a few items. There were 2 lighting switches, one for the mirror and one for the cabin. There was also a converter outlet for a European plug, 2 USB ports, and an electrical outlet. Notice the large flat-screen television directly in front of the king-size bed. The cabin also includes a nice-sized couch, a sleeper sofa, I assume. By the way, that's the lovely Etta Whitman on the couch. I take her with me everywhere I go. There was lighting on both sides of the bed. Each side of the bed also included a small side table and a USB port, electrical outlet, and a switch for the lighting. The switch between the light and the curtain controls the lighting on the balcony. Finally, let's take a look at the balcony. We love balcony cabins because we enjoy being able to step outside and enjoy the awesome sea views, taking in the fresh sea air, and just relaxing. Our balcony was perfectly suited for all of that. The size was pretty standard. It came with 2 lounge chairs and a table. The lounge chairs had a warning to not lay them all the way back. Why? I don't know. But we complied. Overall, the balcony was about what we expected. Before ending, I wanted to give some props to our stateroom attendant. His name was Desai, and he was excellent. Before he had even met us, he greeted us by name when we were coming back from breakfast. When we would go out in the mornings for breakfast in the Windjammer, he would have our cabins cleaned and made up before we got back. There were 2 occasions he was cleaning when we got back, but we just waited on the balcony until he finished. He was awesome, and I just wanted to mention it here. We did leave him a very nice tip at the end of the cruise. This is Daryl Whitman. Thank you for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next episode of Destination WVF TV. After we settled into our cabin for a bit, our next event was the sail-away party. In my opinion, Royal doesn't have the greatest sail-away parties, but they are getting better. Carnival has the best sail-away parties in my opinion. On Icon of the Seas, I will say that it was probably the most hyped sail-away party I've seen on a Royal Caribbean ship. The location on the ship wasn't the greatest, especially as it relates to video. But as I tend to do, I worked my way to the most advantageous spot I could for recording. After the sail-away party, we went back to our cabin for a spell. We eventually headed back up to the Windjammer buffet for dinner. Once we finished dinner, we headed to Central Park to a new venue on Royal Caribbean called Lou's Jazz and Blues. We enjoyed an evening of classic jazz tunes. Following the show, we headed back to our cabin and retired for the evening. It had been a long day. Days 3 and 4 were sea days, and we spent them exploring the ship. And there was a lot to explore. The one thing we wanted to see more than anything was Central Park. It was one of the 8 neighborhoods on Icon. It's not a new concept because Central Park is on all Royal Caribbean Oasis class ships. We just never seen it before. It was really fascinating to me. There are over 12,000 plants, including exotic trees, flower gardens, as well as walkways lined with restaurants, bars, and sculptures. While we're here, let's check out a couple of other neighborhoods we took in on Icon of the Seas during those sea days, starting with the largest pool at sea, Royal Bay. There's always a seat open for you at Royal Bay. Located on Deck 15 on Icon of the Seas, this sprawling oasis on Chill Island is the largest pool at sea, with over 40,000 gallons of water. Royal Bay measures 5,813 square feet, or 540 square meters. Here, you'll find plenty of space to soak up the sun or make a splash, like in-water loungers, and 2 raised whirlpools offering elevated views. The standout feature of the Royal Bay Pool is its waiting area, characterized by its shallow water depth that steadily gets deeper. So whether you choose to plunge in or float along, it's your day, your way. Soak up every minute and toast the good times with refreshing sips never far away. Royal Bay is open to guests of all ages every day from 9 a.m. until 10 p.m. Look at the lovely Etta Whitman on one of the swings near Royal Bay, and another one of us posing on the loungers. We certainly enjoyed this part of the ship very much. Royal Bay was an area of the ship we spent time in every day. There's tons of seating available, and the in-water loungers are a treat. There were a lot of kids there too, but that was okay. The pool never felt crowded, and with the ship sailing at capacity, Royal Bay seemed to have room for everybody. It was certainly a destination point on Icon. I consider it the heart of the ship. If you like that, you're going to love this. The next neighborhood is called The Hideaway. Check this out. The Hideaway is the perfect escape for parents or adults without kids who are looking for a bit of a reprieve from the hustle and bustle of the rest of the ship. Floating in midair 15 stories up, the first suspended infinity pool at sea brings beach club vibes to the back of the ship at this adults-only paradise. We will get back to the Hideaway in a second, but I wanted to take this opportunity to ask that you consider subscribing with us. We have so much more content, like this video, to share with you the rest of this year, and we'd love to have you as part of our growing community. Thank you for your consideration. Now back to the Hideaway. Spend the day sipping bubbly champagne cocktails while the DJ spins relaxing beach beats until after the sun goes down. And whether you're popping bottles from your full-size daybed in the middle of the water or kicking back at the wraparound bar, every view is the best view at the Hideaway. Elevate your pool day with an exclusive in-pool daybed at the Hideaway. Nestled in the Hideaway neighborhood on Deck 15, these premium full-size daybeds channel beach club party vibes at the first suspended infinity pool at sea. Located in the very back of the ship, the Hideaway is an adults-only area on board, much like the solarium on other Royal Caribbean ships. Access to this area is complimentary, but guests have the opportunity to rent one of 3 daybeds in the Hideaway pool. Royal Caribbean describes the daybed as follows. Premium full-size daybeds channel beach club party vibes at the first suspended infinity pool at sea. Settle into plush comfort with energizing beats from the nearby DJ booth as your soundtrack. Whether you're lounging with friends or jamming to the beat, these in-pool daybeds are your haven of comfort on board. Your exclusive retreat awaits. Renting a daybed at the Hideaway is cheaper if you reserve it before the cruise starts. It's $350 if you purchase it pre-cruise. On the ship, it costs $400. The price is per daybed for one full day. The price also varies whether you select a port day or a sea day. Picking the daybed on a sea day is more expensive than a port day. On board, the difference is $100. The daybed can hold a maximum of 4 guests. You can have less than that, but it makes sense to have the most people you can to save money per person. The included amenities are meant for 4 people. Each daybed comes with a chilled bottle of champagne to share, 4 towels, and 4 water bottles. The Hideaway is all adult and only allows guests that are 18 and older. If you have someone between the ages of 18 and 20 on the daybed, they will receive 4 complimentary mocktails to substitute the champagne the daybed comes with. The big attraction of the Hideaway is, of course, the pool, which is the first ever suspended infinity pool at sea. The pool includes over-the-water daybeds, which we talked about, in-pool loungers, and the most incredible views off the aft or back of the ship. Just above the pool on the port side are 2 large hot tubs, an incredible spot to wind down at the end of a long vacation day. The tiered sun deck space offers dozens of pink lounge chairs under fall palm tree sculptures for added sun protection. The very bottom level are comfy daybeds that are first come, first serve. They have the best views on the ship, looking out at the wake and the sunset on the horizon. The Hideaway bar is a beautiful space with a DJ playing throughout the day, ample comfortable chair and sofa seating, and a menu with delicious tropical themed drinks. The Hideaway is a fantastic option for adults on board who want to get away from it all and enjoy a little partying and relaxation while on their cruise vacation. That was something else. Don't you agree? We'll take a look at a couple of other neighborhoods, including my favorite, later in the video. Stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. All right, now to day 5. Our first port stop was Phillipsburg, St. Martin. We didn't do an excursion in St. Martin, but rather just explored the port. If we're being totally honest, we found the port in St. Martin rather boring. There was no music playing and no performers anywhere around. There wasn't any entertainment of any kind as far as we could see. It was a very quiet port, and again, we thought it was rather boring. But we made the best of it. Our next port of call was St. Thomas. St. Thomas left a much better impression on us than St. Martin did. The port was livelier and felt more welcoming and inviting. The view of the ship from the port was awesome as well. It was very picturesque, I thought. There was plenty of shopping available in port too. By the way, these were our first visits to St. Martin and St. Thomas. I guess you could say we were a bit underwhelmed. Maybe on our next visit, we ought to take an excursion to make things a little more interesting rather than just hanging around the port. Day 6 was a sea day, so we continued exploring the ship. Here's a video of the Surfside neighborhood, a kid's paradise. My favorite area of the ship was located on deck 15 at the very front of the ship. It's called the Overlook. It was the most peaceful, relaxing, and tranquil area on the ship. It features floor-to-ceiling windows with a beautiful ocean view. Take a look at this and judge for yourself. Later that evening, we returned to Lou's Jazz and Blues once again and thoroughly enjoyed the show. This show was supposed to feature the music of Earth, Wind & Fire, but I think Royal printed it wrong in the Daily Guide because that's not what the band played. Regardless, they were still good and we still enjoyed it. Day 7 was a sea day. Here's one final look at part of the uniqueness of Icon of the Seas. It's called the Pearl, and it greets you as you enter the ship during embarkation. It's really beautiful and not something you expect to see on a cruise ship. The last day of the cruise, day 8, was spent on Royal Caribbean's private island, Coco Cay. We've been to Coco Cay a few times previously, so we were very familiar with this island. We spent a couple of hours hanging out and eating, then headed back to the ship. This was our last port stop on the trip. We spent the rest of the day relaxing in our cabin and packing up. Our trip back to Dallas from Miami was relatively uneventful, except for the fact that our flight was delayed out of Miami, which put our connecting flight in Atlanta in jeopardy. We made it to Atlanta just in time. Fortunately, the connecting flight was in the same terminal that our arriving flight was. When we got to the gate, they were already boarding. Whew! Catastrophe averted. Thank you for watching. Before I go, I want to invite you to consider subscribing with us. We have a lot more in store for you this year, and we'd love for you to be a part of our growing YouTube community. Thank you again. Goodbye, and God bless. This is Gerald Whitman. Thank you for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next episode of Destination WVF TV.